Charlie Hall, are you ready to look at Devil Daggers with me?
I am so ready to look at Devil Daggers. I've been spending way too much time with this game,
Me too,
Nick.
man. You and I have been talking in our internal chat room about Devil Daggers for pretty much a week now, and I've been playing it this weekend. I streamed it for like an hour and a half and made like a very, very marginal improvement in my score. I'm not good at Devil Daggers, though. That's an important distinction to make.
What does that mean to not be good at Devil Daggers? Please define your not goodness for me.
That's actually an important question, because I'm also pretty sure that no one on Earth is good at Devil Daggers. There's like the two guys at the top of the leaderboard and the creator of the game, and that's it. Those are the only people who are good at Devil Daggers. I guess what I mean when I say that, well, first of all, let's talk about what Devil Daggers is. I'll let you handle that, because I think this game speaks to you personally, maybe even more than it does to me.
Devil Daggers is a unholy mixture of Geometry Wars and like Doom 2.
Right.
And Nick, it brings back all these memories for me. Like in the early 90s, my dad used to work on telephone switching systems, and he would bring back this incredibly expensive laptop when he was on call, and buried on this corporate laptop was Doom. And
nice.
So I played Doom, though, and I beat Doom with just a keyboard. No mouse, no trackball. But like the graphics and the level of complexity involved in dodging all the moving
with a
parts.
trackball, yikes!
Not even a trackball, just with both hands on 8 keys. But I digress. This game is that hard.
Yeah, it feels like that. It's very, very, very deliberate. I mean, like just in the course of you telling that very short story, I died like 4 times.
3 times, yeah. My highest. The most I've been able to stay alive as these endless streams of increasingly more difficult enemies jump out onto the board, which has an edge that you can fall off of.
Yeah, I actually managed to fall off that in this run, which is extremely embarrassing.
68 seconds.
That's
a little over 68 seconds, and I am just beaming with pride.
I had a friend this morning, she tweeted out 77 seconds just with no context by itself, and I immediately knew, like, oh, that's a Devil Daggers run.
Wow, that's a good run.
I think my top is still 66, as you can see in this video. This is actually a quick replay of my best ever run, because one of my favorite things about this game, you can see full replays of how everything does. So Charlie, one of the things that we've been kind of holding off on talking about in our personal lives, so we could talk about it in this video, is all the secrets in Devil Daggers, because one of the things I learned from streaming it is that there are a lot. There's a guy who was watching my stream who has a score. He was in the top 100 for a while. I think he had like 190 seconds or something like that. Maybe much higher, actually. And he was able to explain to me, without spoiling it, some stuff that I was not realizing it. So first of all, I think we need to talk about the rocket jump. Have you seen the rocket jump?
I have tried to do the rocket jump, and I cannot figure out the rocket jump. Help me, Nick.
The execution is actually trickier than you might expect. It's not just shooting at the ground with the shotgun blast. It's you shoot at the ground with a shotgun blast and click jump at the exact same millisecond, and that's how you pull it off. And we should talk about the controls, because I think they're kind of brilliant. It is for the most part a one-button game, with maybe an exception later on, depending on when you unlock stuff. You hold down the left mouse button to shoot a stream of daggers, and then you click. Individual clicks will fire off sort of a shotgun style thing. So you've got 2 main weapons at your disposal, at least when you start a run. And then kind of what you're doing is you're collecting these gems, these crystals that fall, to kind of build up towards power-ups that you'll eventually earn down the line. Once you hit, I think 10 is the first one, which I've only managed to do once. And there's a whole nother layer of mechanics to that. Like stuff that I wasn't realizing even. So like maybe you picked up on this, Charlie, but the crystals actually magnetize towards the player whenever you're not firing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you might see a little bit of that in this run, because I think I had figured it out by this point.
Well, the problem is I'm never not firing, Nick.
Yeah.
I figure that if I'm not moving, and I'm not moving in the same direction, and I'm not firing, I am going to lose.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, and there's a fun tension to the fact that this game is actually encouraging you at times not to fire. I think this was the only time I took out the giant bug. By the way, let's talk about the giant bug for a second. The giant bug is at all times, and I never would have noticed this if someone hadn't told me in my Twitch chat, it's actually eating your gems. All the gems are being sucked into its mouth, and they're being permanently destroyed if you don't kill it in time.
Yeah. No idea.
So cool. So we're gonna watch your best replay, which is just under 2 seconds better than mine. So this is a little
Yeah.
Charlie Hall gameplay right here.
Yeah, I've found myself just kind of getting up early before the kids are up and just doing like a couple of runs when I'm fresh in the morning, and then I'll hit in the afternoon and then get in the evening, and I just can't seem to beat this run. I just can't do it. 2 days later, I can't bring myself to beat it.
That best run that you saw was the result of me beating my head against it for 35 seconds and then topping my old run by, I think it was 0.5613 seconds. It was such a marginal improvement on my existing score.
But the fun thing that I've been doing lately is in between sucking at the game, which I've been doing a lot, is like you were saying, right on the leaderboard, there's a little eyeball next to all of the leaders, and you hit that eyeball, and boom, you're watching their run. So you've got all of this intelligence, and you can really kind of study, but then there's some crazy stuff that happens in the later levels.
That's the thing, and I'm using a little bit of self-restraint in watching those replays. Like, I watched the #1 replay of all time, and then I cut it off at about the 80-second mark, because I was like, beyond this point, lied, spoilers, that that was really close. You almost walked right into that thing. Yeah.
And then I'm dead.
And then you're dead.
It was, but I was literally like, my hands were tense from gripping the mouse. And
oh god, when you're coming up on your high score, it's one of the greatest feelings that you get in a video game. I don't know. I am thrilled with Devil Daggers. It is $4.99, which makes it just about the easiest thing in the world to recommend. Someone was also telling me, this was fun. You can do ricochet shots off the floor, which
that's cool.
Like, I played for hours and didn't realize that was a thing. There's a kind of, I think you could play this game once and mistakenly think it's a really simple, just aesthetically awesome but kind of depthless game. And the more I've played it and the more I've discussed it with the people around me, the more I realize that there's a lot of stuff at play in Devil Daggers.
I can't wait till later this year when the speedrunning community gets a hold of this game, because this is like another level. I want to see like the Tetris Grandmasters version of Devil Daggers.
Oh my god, yeah. Hopefully, maybe when you get to the end of Devil Daggers, it's like TGM, where you're playing through the credits and all the monsters are invisible, kind of like in Tetris the Grandmaster. That'd be a nice, fun nightmare. Anyways, this is Devil Daggers. I can't really recommend it enough. It's got an amazing, purely time-based leaderboard that I think is really, really clever and really pure. And then we didn't even talk about this, but it has obviously the best visual, the most overtly satanic-looking video game I think I've ever played in my life.
The sounds are pretty great too. All of the knocking of the skulls and the chittering of this brain beast. Ugh.
I think that would be my last piece of advice. Is like, I think this is a headphones mandatory game, not just so you get immersed in this terrible hellscape that they've crafted, but knowing positionally where enemies are and where the spawners are spawning is that is a piece of information that will literally help you get better scores. So plug in some headphones, pay the $5, strap in, and just send yourself to this nightmare plane of existence.
You let me know when you get over 68 seconds, son.
I will. I'm still gonna try.